Religion is a very loaded word in our day and age. We're told we live in a secular society, certainly in a post-Christian era. So religion is certainly non-denominational in the sense that it's brought to children. But I would nail my colour to the mast and say that we teach religion from day one. Because religion is really, how do you relate to the world? How do you relate to your fellow people? How neatly do you put your shoes outside the classroom door? What care do you take of the flowers and the plants in the classroom and your environment around you? Religion is really how we relate to each other and our environment initially for young children. So there's a very definite, almost I dare say, a religious gesture, a reverential, respectful gesture, very much so in the younger children. And you want to cultivate in them a sense of awe, and a sense of wonder, and a sense of reverence to everything they experience. You want them to be amazed by the dawn chorus. You want them to be amazed by the power of a magnet. You want them to experience the biography of someone like Napoleon as an amazing phenomenon. Out of that awe and reverence, I would say there's a religious quality there in the human being, which enables them later in adult life to sustain that enthusiasm and their connection for the world and love of the world. And it may not, probably won't in this day and age, lead them to an overt expression, an obvious expression of a religious life, but hopefully a very deep inner life and an inner connection with everything that comes at them, because we don't know what will come at them. Our context in this country and at this time, the cultural tradition in this country is one that we build upon and recognise and work with. So we work with 4 main festivals in the year, which help the students and the children experience the rhythm of the year and the rhythm of the seasons. So we celebrate very definitely Easter and St. John's in the middle of the summer, the Advent and Christmas period. As we start the school year with Michaelmas, and again that's something that's rather unusual to outsiders. Michaelmas Harvest Festival used to be very much the tradition in this country, died out a long time ago. It's a wonderful time of the year, the end of September, start of the school year, to celebrate a deep connection with the earth through the harvest, but also a deeper connection with the outer world and the outside world. And that's a time of year when we embrace new deeds and acknowledge the courage we're going to need to go into the dark of the year. So the festivals are a way really of mapping your way through your own calendar, your own personal calendar, as well as the calendar of the outside year. What kind of sports? I would say, first of all, games and playing games is something that's absolutely essential from kindergarten upwards. So playing games for young children, it's as vital as breathing. In fact, it's very closely related to breathing, isn't it? And activity and movement are central to our education. And if it's not outer, external activity, then inner activity for the imagination. So playing games, and very often in the traditional sense with young children, from skipping and rope games and old-fashioned playground games, these are very much cultivated. These, of course, develop into more structured sports and games. They move on into basketball, volleyball. There'll be some, as in all schools and in our culture, who are very much taken up with football or rugby or rowing. Most of these will be pursued outside of school, but there are always opportunities within school for children to pursue and excel in what they're particularly strong at. And with the older students, we like to take them to local facilities where they can really excel. And we have ex-students who are professional cyclists, professional rowers. We do have ex-students who found ways of excelling and earning their living from their joy. I would say their joy in movement rather than a particular one-sided speciality in one sport. The joy in movement. Cycling has become more and more of a theme at the school with the opening of the bicycle path that links us all the way to Totnes. Cycling is taught formally, and lots of classes go on cycling trips and adventures. We have a class right now over in Brittany. I myself have taken classes on cycling trips to Holland and to Germany. In addition to the cycling, you can come here in the summer. There are children zooming around on their bikes with their helmets on, and there are other children doing archery, and there are other children in the adjacent field playing basketball or volleyball. and some will have gone off-site, canoeing, climbing, caving. So ideally the pupil joins the class teacher at the age of 6 and they'll be together for the next 8 years. So a lot happens between a child being 6 and a child being 14, and a lot can happen in the teacher's life in that time. And I would say it would be rather odd if there weren't periods during those 8 years where teacher and pupil looked at each other with a sense of, well, what do we have to teach each other? And it's very much on that basis. It's not just the teacher who has something to bring to the pupil. So you would expect there to be times when it's uncomfortable. You'd almost be concerned if it weren't so. But you also quite clearly don't have the opportunity to dodge your responsibility as a teacher. If it's not going so well, you've got to stick with it because you're together for 8 years. And again, at the end of 8 years, there's a wonderful opportunity to reflect on your successes and your failures, and to acknowledge those to yourself and hopefully take them forward in your own professional development. I'm going to introduce another word, which is authority, which, like religion, doesn't sit easily for many people. There's a wonderful expression which I'm going to quote now, and that is that young children wish to bask in the sunshine of authority. And when you see children for whom the boundaries are clear and the structure is clear, and maybe the rhythm and routine are dependable, they're children who can relax. They're children who are freed by discipline and structure to really be themselves and to really work and enjoy school. Those children who are less able to relax into that structure will perhaps have a different relationship to authority. One often feels for them because they don't have that relationship to authority or to discipline. And we have to help them. We have to help them in usual, formal, traditional ways. We have ways of reminding them of the boundaries, of reinforcing those boundaries, of calling them to account. But we're not afraid of the word authority. We're certainly not afraid of the word structure. But we do link them very definitely with the concept of freedom. That you can't lead a child towards freedom without providing authority, discipline and structure in a safe, secure and loving environment. And that's our aim. The need for differentiation in the modern classroom has never been more evident. So in terms of supporting those children who can no longer work in what you might call the classical way of receiving the teacher's narrative and the content, we've had to adapt, as have other schools over the years, to the varying needs of children to receive the content in different ways and to work with it in different ways. So the teachers differentiate in the class. Differentiation is implicit in the Steiner curriculum, in that the outcome, what the child produces, is very much connected to their own artistic interpretation of the teacher's content. Over and above that, we have trained staff who constitute the learning support department, and they try as far as possible to support children inclusively in the classroom context, but they also take children off for smaller group work and for individual work. And we'd love to have more resources put in that direction, but like all schools, there is a limit to what can be done in that area. We have to be realistic about the balance of the class. Although it grieves us to do so, sometimes we have to say, no, we can't provide the extra support or extra tuition that this child will need. We have to look at the needs of the class as a whole. And hopefully the class is socially robust and integrated with a wide range of abilities and can take on any newcomers. But sometimes we have to take pause and be realistic about what we can't do as well as what we can do.